Hey, this is Carla. I just wanted to make this video to just walk through one of the projects that I've made. So essentially, I just wanted to explain how it works, and then also where my inspiration came from, so that you guys can see kind of where I got the idea from and what I hope for it to become. So this is what the project is here. We've got our homepage, and here is basically the mission or the idea, right? The goal is to generate passive income, identifying the best investment in your watch list, right? So here we have just a couple of stocks that you can take a look at, their details, and I thought it would be cute if it was a random stock every time you go onto the homepage. So it's always new information, whatever. Now, if you go to the dashboard, this is where the list is. So this is your specific watch list, my specific watch list. A couple of stocks that I am interested in are here. And these rows, I think, are what are very important. So basically, we have the close price for that day. We have the dividend yield, we have the frequency of the dividends, and then I wanted to calculate the amount you need to invest for the dividends to buy one additional share, right? So I need to have $714 for the dividends to buy one share of Apple. So then I wanted the 5 times amount for that to buy 5 shares, right? And then for now, kind of the opposite direction, how many shares do I need to receive $1,000 in dividends? And obviously this is going to be annually, because the dividends yield is based on the annual. It's based on an annual, even if you get it quarterly or the total yield. This is going to be over the span of 1 year, right? But actually, no, this is actually the frequency. I'm sorry, the percentage. So I actually converted this to be the dollar amount, so it's not a percentage. So I know that I can expect that much every 4 or 3 months. So then we have the shares that I need to have to get $1,000 in dividends every year. So I would need to have 1,042 shares of Apple to get $1,000 dividends paid to me. And then also the amount. So how much would it cost to have 1,042 shares? That would be $178,766. Now, I also included this calculation here for the amount of years it would take for your investment to double. So if I invested this much, it would take 5 years, a little over 5 years, for this to turn into twice as much, right? So I used these metrics just over the years, doing research, watching videos of people explaining how they analyze their stocks and what to invest in. And these are some of the things that they would look for, right? They would talk about buying stocks that give a dividends is very important, ETFs and things like that, like grouping stocks. But then there was also I just like math, and I came across this equation, and I think that's very powerful. I would like to know that. And then you can see on this list here, for example, that there are some that it wouldn't even take 1 year for it to double. So is that a good thing? I mean, just if we look at this column, absolutely. But there are some other columns that might not be as favorable. So, for example, this is a very large investment to make up front, and then it takes quite a while for it to double. I think there was one on here that would, no, that, yeah, 72 years. Yeah, like this, that's way too long. So, you know, you want to look at these factors to see what is the best investment in terms of like, do I have this initial amount? Would it make sense to do that initial amount if it's going to take 72 years for it to just double? I don't think so. Now, if we look at this second column, this is the column. They're all, I think all of these are very important factors to consider, but I think it's really like these, it's these three. Because if you look at this column here, if you have just $10,000 to invest in JPY, right? You can double your money in less than a year, which 10,000 is a lot more reasonable than $1 million for 72 years, and a lot more reasonable than 178,000 for 5 years. Whether I know what this stock is here or not, whether I've heard of it or not, whether I care or like that brand or not, this to me just seems like a better investment. And that also is going to, you know, because it's going to double if I, let's say, reinvest this dividends, right? So I'm going to be getting $1,000 dividends every year with this much. So now this is pretty relative because the dividends are not set in stone. They change however often they want to, at least every year. So you want to invest in, you know, the aristocrats and dividend kings, right? The dividend aristocrats and dividend kings, right? They've been getting dividends for 50, 60 years plus and consistently growing and increasing their dividends every single year after year. So you know, that is something to keep in mind as well. Like there's a lot of factors when thinking about stocks, but I just felt like these were very key factors that I could take a look at that could give me a relatively good idea of whether or not this is a good stock to invest in. So now another part, the profile is just basic, like whatever. So this isn't a completed project just yet because obviously like you're supposed to be able to click on these. So I need to figure out what happened with that. Also, I have some links here. These are the pages above in the menu bar, but then this one doesn't work. And this one is a little strange. Delete all stocks in the database and fetch most recent details from Polygon API. This may take several minutes, only needed once a day. So that is the restriction of the API, is that I can only get the most recent information from the last closing period. So that would have been Friday. So I can't get active or live changes. That's okay. I mean, if you're just trying to, you don't really need it, the like real-time data, you know, for making analysis like this. Yesterday's close price should be fine. So this is another part of the app here. Yes, this homepage gives just some links. I wasn't really sure what to put here, and while I was, you know, working on it, I put these here for testing purposes, but this doesn't, you don't want to even do this here, to be honest. So, yeah, that is going to be kind of the overview of this project. Now I will talk about exactly how I built it, what's the tech stack, things like that. We could dive into the code a little bit here. So we have the README. I kept it pretty simple, just a brief description of what this app does. I also included the docs to the Polygon API and some commands that I needed to use to work with this, work on this project. So really, I think this was just so I didn't forget anything. Now we have the sub app here, account, that holds all of our templates. Here's the stock details one. This is when you click on a specific stock and want to get more information on just one stock. Here's the base, kind of like layout template for the entire application. And then we also have, I wanted to show the models here. The model. So it has all of the stuff needed for the stock details page. And I have plans to incorporate some more data. Now I am using SQLite for the database, and also oh yeah, this terminal output here, this is pretty cool. This is kind of where everything started. This file, this function has all of the API calls to get the data for each of the stocks on this watch list, and it stores it in this object. But this will run by itself. However, it only creates this terminal output. That's all it does. I wanted it to run when I opened up the application, and so far what I've gotten was to incorporate it into the migrate command. So when you do your Python manage migrate, this is going to run that same function stored in the database with the updated information for each stock. So I thought I was pretty proud of that. Now we talked about the templates, and yeah, the backend is SQLite, and oh, we also are using Docker for this. So this is hosted on AWS, and I'm running it using Docker. So this is the Docker file that I used to create the image. I pushed it to the hub and pulled it in the EC2 instance. So this is pretty much everything. I guess I'll go to the requirements too. That's everything I used to get this done, and that should be everything for the tech stack. We can go into the inspiration for this. So we were talking about, the factors, these columns here. And it's funny how cool software can be and make our lives so much easier, because this is where it started. I had this sheet that I was doing research with. I wanted to know what the best investment was on that day. I sat there, like I said, I watched videos and people are talking about this, talking about that. I thought, okay, let me just, let me see for myself, because I can listen and I can follow what somebody is doing, or I can come up with analyses myself and make a decision on my own. So I put together this spreadsheet, and I actually sat here. This was the last time I did it, because that's when I started working on the project, the Django project. So I sat here and actually, every day I would look at Yahoo Finance as well as E-Trade, and I would fill in each of these columns. And the reason why I looked at both was because they're not accurate, so I was kind of trying to take an average of them. not realizing, again, not understanding that the annualized dividends percent actually changes. And then also, this price is going to change every single day. So for a while, I was actually keeping up with this. Maybe like once a week, I would sit here and take time, and it would be very tedious, but it was just very cool to see how the numbers change, how the colors change, so that you can get an idea of what is really a good investment right now. In which, like, you know, just broadly speaking, I can look at the data here and see that these columns, right, the ones that have that one red, these are at like a significant discount, it looks like, because there was additional columns that I had in the spreadsheet here for what the percent growth was for 1 year, for the last 1 year, for the last 5 years, and also the dollar amount, right? Average growth for the last 5 years. So it looks like these stocks here are just dying out. This one here is just dying out. This one here, I put them in red, is just dying out. These are no good, right? That's what it looks like, at least for the last 5 years. It's just going down, down, down. Can they come back up? I don't know. But some of these other ones, you know, you're getting a 23% discount on Microsoft. You're getting a 20% discount because these are doing so well, right? The last year they've grown 189% just this year. So, or no, that's 5 years. 5 years. They're down 1 year, right? So in the last 5 years, they're up, but only 20%. Like this, you're getting this is a steal, right? Because the average growth is 37%. So that's why you're getting a discount, right? Comparing these numbers, this is pretty. You know, you're breaking even on this, right? But you can expect over the next 5 years, it will probably increase 98%. So this is still a good investment. So I'm sat here and I'm now able to come up with these conclusions looking at the data over time, it just changing and like, you know, sitting here being tediously putting all of these numbers in like once a week. And I thought it was fun. But yeah, same thing with the other columns. I just didn't put some of them, the dividends, dollar and percent. And so this is pretty much the inspiration for this project. I sat here and I actually had a sheet that I was putting together once a week to see what was a good investment. And this is what I came up with. Just to kind of wrap this all up with a little bow and close this out, I guess the kind of summary of this project was, you know, to make my life easier, really. I was tired of like sitting there and looking at my phone, looking at Yahoo Finance, typing it in or copying, pasting, and like, you know, it just was getting to be a lot of work, but I thought this information was very powerful. And so I wanted to just, again, simplify my life and come up with this tool. So I just wanted to also make it easier to analyze stocks. So I think going forward, like what I envision for this platform is to, you know, the idea or the dream for it is for it to be a platform where you can analyze stocks very simply. You know, all these stock platforms, E-Trade, Vanguard, you know, even the crypto ones, Binance, very traditionally so, they all have like a bunch of very confusing like charts. There's just it's like very overwhelming, I think, for like people starting to invest or who want to invest newly. But the goal for this is to make it like stupid proof, like, you know, analyzing stocks for dummies. Like this would be able to organize itself. So this spreadsheet here is actually like not in order. I originally had it alphabetical, right? The same way it is on here. But the goal is for this to operate similarly to the spreadsheet, where I am able to sort these stocks based on what I find to be important. So if I want to look at the returns for the last year, right, I can sort this based off of this column, right? I should freeze that. I should freeze. Now we know. Okay, so freeze these. Now, if I want to sort these, I can see, you know, what hasn't been impacted. It looks like these red ones here were impacted by, you know, the whole shutdown and COVID situation. These were greatly impacted, or not, some not very much, but these ones were able to withstand that. But yeah, I mean, ideally for somebody who is stupid, I mean, I know how to use a spreadsheet. I know the data that I'm looking at because I put these factors here. But I want this to do the same in an automated way. So this is in alphabetical order, but for the future, it would just pop up the top best investment at that time based off of what yesterday's close price was. I mean, ideally it would be real-time information, but you know, whatever. It would be at least, you know, the very next iteration of this app is going to be based off of the close price from the day prior. And it will automatically sort based off of what is the best investment. So I need to actually weight these factors. What is the most important factor? Now, also it can be manual. You know, you should be able to sort these by whatever you think is important. But I want it to give like best investment of the day, like at the top, so that you can just throw money at it if you want. And if it happens to be, you know, this one where you gotta invest 178,000, then that's what it is. That just happens to be the best one. But there's numbers and data to back that up. So it looks like I was able to fix the issue with this. And I went ahead and updated the data in the database. So everything is up to date for the last closing price. And now you can see the single stocks. Like I was saying, you got the logo, the company name, the description, the details. And it's the same for all of them. So that was the one missing piece. And if I search here, brings me to whatever I want. So yes, just wanted to fix that before actually getting to bed. But that is going to conclude the InvestWise project. I appreciate you taking time to have a look and do this walkthrough with me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.